So this is Bobby. This is my prodigal dog, and I've learned so much from him. God has taught me many, many lessons, and I'm going to share that story today. One of the lessons I learned. Let me put him back. He was so skinny. He was 30 something pounds, and I'm talking about, this is a big dog. You saw him. He was 30 something pounds. You can see his ribs. You can see his spine. His head was bigger than his body, and he just has scars all over him and all of that. And you know, we're like, have you seen, how long has this dog been out? It's like, I've seen him for over a week in the streets. We don't know what to do. I don't want to leave him outside. It's like, are you willing to, you know, take care of him while this goes on? And anyways, the thing is, turns out nobody claimed him. So I end up keeping the dog. We give him all the shots and all of that. So fast forward, he starts getting used to life. He would sleep on the floor. He would not want to be near anybody. He would be eating a lot because he's so hungry. Put him special diet. The thing is that one day I'm coming home from work, and all of a sudden I get this call. So maybe a month after all of this happened, you know, getting the dog. And in the phone, my mom is like, are you on your way from work? I'm saying, yes, I'm on my way from work. She's like, okay, I have to talk to you when you get back. And I'm like, that's strange. What is that all about? So I go, and then I just see the house is empty. And I'm like, what's going on? And she said, well, Bobby ran away. The door just flung open, and he just started running. And he runs so fast, it's hard to catch him. And the thing is, it was dark. It was at night, really late at night. And it was like the transition starting to be winter, so it was cold. And couldn't find him. And no matter, and like spent out all night just looking for him outside, going with cars, walking, couldn't find him. And like my whole world was destroyed that moment, because I'm like, you know, you see all the progress, and you start getting attached to the dog and everything, but then this happens, and it's like, what in the world? And so I just didn't know what to do. And no matter, like, we talked to neighbors, like, oh yeah, we saw this dog just dash. He's running and running, and he got lost. No matter where we looked, he got lost. We had friends and family pray. With my dad, we did like flyers, and he did nice flyers. Thank you, Dad. And we put out flyers. I posted on Next Door Neighbors app and Facebook, and we're just looking for him like crazy. And I didn't know what to think, you know. I didn't know like what to do. I'm just like, when he gets back, like, I honestly was scared that when I found him that he would reject me, basically. I was scared that the dog, because it wasn't enough time, I think, that he would not recognize me or not want anything to do with me. And I'm just like, but still, I'm like, even though he did that out of disobedience for not staying in the door inside, or like, well, what's going through my mind was not like, when I get this dog, I'm gonna punish him. No, I was not thinking that. All that was going through my mind is, I want to find him, and when I find him, I'm gonna give him the biggest hug. And I just, like, my heart was just full of compassion for him, thinking like night after night, like, oh my gosh, it's this many degrees outside today. Lord, please hold the rain, let it not rain. Where is he? What is he doing right now? Like that's what was going on in my heart and my mind. And this is a dog, you know what I'm talking about. And yes, they're family, but I'm also thinking about like all those parents like that lose their children and can't find their children. I'm like, if this is for a dog, I can't imagine, for a child. Like, wow, what they must be going through. So my God gave me compassion for them as well. Anyways, 5 days after 5 days later, I just said, God, you know what? You love this dog. You put him in my life, and you're not just gonna take him away like that. And you want the best for him too, because you care about animals as well. And I said, Lord, I just put it in your hands, and I prayed. There were some other things that God revealed to me during that time, actually, and so I just let it go in his hands and trusted him. And after I finished work early in the morning, I get a phone call. It's this neighbor. He spotted Bobby dashing across the yards. Oh, just way down. So apparently, I'm making this story short because it's just long. But apparently, he has been going from yard to yard and just roaming around, and people been trying to catch him, but he's shy. He runs away. So I just literally, I leave everything. I'm just like, forget everything, get in my car, just get a bunch of snacks for the dog, and try to chase him down. And then when we get there, it's like he went running that way because he's just shy. And I'm just like, and so just going around, and they knew it was him because he had a specific collar that before, literally the night before he got lost, I got him this color. I'm like, this is gonna like make him stand out. It was like this thick fluorescent collar, and I'm like, he's marked, he's mine, he's my dog. So it was thanks to that they were able to see him and spot him. And then finally I get back, and they're like, oh, they just saw him go this way, and this lady flagged me down, and I parked my car, and I get out. It's like, my husband has saw him there. He just went behind these bushes and wouldn't get out because he's scared, because he's scared of strangers. And so I just went in, and then I just saw this, literally these bushes, and there's like this tiny hole, and in this hole, this man is just standing in front of the hole. So the dog is just stuck there because there was fence. There was a fence that he was cornered in the fence, and then the hole was covered with this man. He didn't know him, so he was just against the fence like that, the corner. And then I tried to call him, and he was like confused. But then he looked at the man. I'm like, I'm sorry. I told the man, can you, go a little further, because he's shy. He won't let me get near him. And so there was like the moment of truth. And when I saw him, and then I just crawled through this little hole, and I called him. And then when I called him, it's like, Bobby, he was like, is this who I think it is? And then I called him the term of endearment, one of many terms of endearment. I say, Bobo, what's wrong, Bebo? And his whole face changes, and all of a sudden he's just comes towards me, and I'm just embracing him. He was scared. He thought I was gonna punish him or something, I don't know. But then when he noticed I called him my term of endearment, and that I was coming to him, like I had a snack in my hand, he ignored that. Okay, he ignored that snack, and he just went straight to me, and he you could see in his face like he was sorry, and all I wanted to do was get him home, bathe him, feed him, and just celebrate. And I called everybody that's been helping us, and like, hey, he's back, and then we got him home. He was so happy. He would stop licking my face. And when we got back, he was looking at everything like, this is my bed. He actually got in his bed. He didn't like his bed before, but then he got his bed, and then he wouldn't let go of his bed. And then he thought, this is my plate of food. And after that, he's just started like you see him like jumping for joy and stuff, and just going around the house like, I'm here. So that's my prodigal dog story. Now, what lesson did I learn from that? God taught me just what the father went through in the story of the prodigal son. This story, you can find it in Luke 15 verses 11 all the way to 31. So please read that at home. So the story of the prodigal son, and this is not just a story that he told, to people just because, but this story is trying to show his heart for us, and I got a deeper understanding of how he feels for us. Sometimes we are scared to come to God because, especially after we ran away, like we purposely hidden from him, or we ran away from home, from his kingdom, from him, and we're thinking like, dang, I can't come to him, he's gonna punish me, he's probably angry at me, what must he think of me? But through all of that, I learned like, no, he's not thinking of how to punish us. He's not thinking of like, oh, when I get him, like he's thinking like, I want him back, I want her back. He's longing for that day when we return to him, and he's waiting with open arms, literally. Just like I was full of compassion for Bobby, he's full of compassion for us. That's why he sent Jesus. It wasn't a light sacrifice. It wasn't like, oh, to get you back, he paid the price for our sin so that we can come back to him. He didn't abandon us. He made a way. And understanding just the depth of his love, I'm just surprised, because if I could feel that for a dog, and he's an awesome dog, I love him, and I'm just still like, every day, like I mentioned before, I'm surprised. Like I look at him and see the transformation, the change, and just see the work of redemption come alive before my eyes. And just, and does he make mistakes? He still makes mistakes, but he's learning, and I see him mature. He's maturing, and he's learning, and even though through those mistakes, for a moment I'm like, but really quickly I'm like, I remember, just how far he's come, and I'm like, Bobby, like, even though through all these things, I still love you, and I want the best for you, and I just my hope for you is to live a life that is full of joy. Live your life to the fullest. And now I see him before, as he would hesitate to come near me and all of that stuff, in the beginning. Now for him to just literally like come to me when he feels bored, when he feels sad, when he feels whatever he's feeling, he comes to me, he greets me when I get home, and it's like, that's the kind of I'm sorry comparing it to a dog, but that's the kind of relationship like God wants with us. He wants us to come to him, when we feel sad, when we feel alone, when we feel bored, he wants that relationship with us. He doesn't just want us like, okay, I saved you, stayed in your corner, this is good. Like, no, he just wants this relationship that's alive, that is fruitful, and he wants that maturity, transformation. He wants to see that in our lives. And so I'm just thankful for the depths of his love towards me, and how he demonstrated this through my dog Bobby. And I hope this was of encouragement to you, and lets you get a different perspective, of the Father's love, of God's love towards you. And just know that his heart is full of compassion, and he loves you, and he wants the best for you, and he wants you to come to him. He wants you to come to him. And I want to add a side note, because in the story also mentions an older brother. The older brother became angry and upset. This is like, we've heard the stories, and we heard different perspectives from preachers, because the thing about the Bible is that from one story or one verse, you can learn so many different lessons from it. So I'm not debunking what other people have, preached about. I'm adding onto it another revelation, another level of revelation. Always heard of the older brother, like he was jealous. He was just doing things from religion and all of that. But I learned from the older brother. I learned, because my other dog, he's actually older. He was home throughout this whole time, and I never stopped loving him. Throughout this whole time, I included him. I spoiled him. I still spoiled him, and I did pay attention to him, and I was always with him. So I did not forget about that older brother, my older dog, and the revelation that came to me is it's just the depth of how deep you are willing to go in your relationship with Christ. That older brother, how deep he was willing to go in his relationship with his father. He was only doing things to earn his position as a son, versus enjoying that relationship of being a son. The father said to him, let me see. The father said, here we go, "Son, you're always with me, and all that is mine is yours." So the dad is like, all that is mine is yours. All these years you've been with me. You have that same, that same accessibility, is that a word? You have the same access to this relationship. So it's how deep are you willing to go in your relationship with Christ? How that is just determined by you. So he was with, if you've been a Christian and you don't feel that same closeness, or you have just been doing things to earn your salvation or to be noticed by God or whatever, you already are noticed, you already are loved, you have that same access. The Lord loves you, and you can go deeper. You can go deeper with God. So it's how far are you willing to go and invest in your relationship with God. So I want to encourage you, if you are new to coming to Christ, or you've been there for years, or you're wondering about, hey, what's this life with God looks like, you have access. He's waiting for you with open arms always, and he wants you to come to him. He wants the best for you, and just allow him to work in your life. Jesus paid the ultimate price for you, so you are valuable to him, and he wants to have that relationship, a relationship with you that's alive. And so if you've strayed, or if you stayed like the older brother, know that he's always happy to and willing to be with you, and to have that relationship. I guess that's all I can say for now. I don't want to go too much longer. I've already gone quite far enough. So if you stayed all the way to now, I want to say, wow, thank you. And I hope that it was of encouragement to you. So yes, goodbye.